Parents are already voicing their concerns as the Madison School Board considers a plan to scan students with a metal detector wand whenever staff thinks it's needed.
And President Trump is headed to Vietnam this morning for a second summit aimed at denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
And a very good morning to you, and thanks for staying with us on this Monday, February 25th. Hopefully you're kind of hunkering under the covers this morning, maybe a few extra minutes before getting out.
I'm over here like this, trying to warm up my hands.
Seriously, some of the kids being able to stay in their PJs and in their beds this morning with all the closures and delays.
Once again.
Not what parents want to see.
No, definitely not.
Point.
Or school districts.
Yeah, it is tough. It has been quite the month weather-wise for the entire state and the surrounding areas, so we're not alone with these crazy weather conditions. A live look this morning from the WISC-TV Skycam shows you that skies are clear early today, so a beautiful shot. What you can't really tell from this picture, though, is that it is bitterly cold outside. Wind chill advisories are in effect until 9 o'clock this morning for our entire viewing area and most of southern Wisconsin. Our temperature is still dropping here in Madison. A big goose egg now, 0 in Lone Rock. Janesville's down to 3, 2 below in the Dells, and 1 below in Platteville. Again, that's only part of the story. Here's a look at current wind chills. Feels like 20 below in Platteville, 19 below in Lone Rock, and 13 below here in Madison. So you want to bundle up as you head outside. Wind chills will climb a little bit today, but not much. We're likely going to stay in the single digits below 0 through most of the afternoon. So a very cold day, even for late February. Now let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps this morning. No real accidents or issues to report right now in and around Madison. Starting to see some brake lights showing up on Stoughton Road right around the Beltline. But keep in mind that travel still may be treacherous, especially as you get north of Madison. I-39 north of Portage, Highway 13 north of the Dells. Travel is not advised on those roads. It's also indicated as ice-covered Highway 14 in between Lone Rock and Richland Center. So be careful this morning. The winds were still pretty strong overnight, so blowing and drifting snow is an issue.
Hard to believe that March 1st is only 4 days away with that.
I know.
I don't know. We'll deal with it. Thanks, Addie.
We have to.
We do.
6:02 right now, and we know that wind has been causing issues out on the roads, and it has also caused problems for utility crews. Let's take a look right here at the outage map for Alliant Energy. It used to be a lot worse. At one point yesterday, 11,000 Alliant customers were without power throughout the state due to gusts and wind. Now, there are still a couple hundred households near Nakusa that do not have power this morning. There were a few dozen households north of DeForest without electricity for a couple hours overnight as well. But those lights are back on this morning.
Wind, snow, and ice caused major problems across the roads on the state yesterday. There was a deadly pileup on the Interstate 41 near Neenah involving more than 130 cars. It happened around 11 a.m. during whiteout conditions. One person was killed and 71 others were injured, including 5 that were admitted to the hospital. Hundreds were stalled while crews cleared the scene. And this is video from I-90 at Highway 60 north of DeForest, where 20 cars were in the ditch around noon yesterday. The State Patrol says the multi-car crash was caused by snow drifting over an icy patch on the road.
There are major highways closed all over southern Minnesota this morning as wind gusts continue to carry snow across the roads there. Whiteout conditions were a significant factor yesterday. Some snow drifts are around 6 feet high this morning. The National Guard was called in to help law enforcement rescue people stranded by that blizzard that dumped a foot of snow in some places. About 75 people had to spend the night in 2 different National Guard armories.
More snow in the forecast means bad news for Wisconsin farmers who are already dealing with buildings buckling under the weight of the snowfall. Those farm structures are usually older and they're exempt from state building codes, so there's no standard on how strong roofs need to be built. As we get closer to spring, the snow is expected to be wetter and heavier, which could put farm buildings at an even greater risk. Well, if you are a parent of a student in the Madison School District, your child may soon see random metal detection screenings in school.
Madison School Board could approve those new rules as soon as tonight. Jamie Perez is joining us this morning. She's live outside La Follette High School with more on that proposal. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, guys. Well, this all stemmed from the safety issues surrounding the shooting that happened here near La Follette back in September. But While this may not be a perfect way to prevent violence in the community, the school board thinks that it's certainly a step in the right direction. Now, these metal detectors would not be full-on metal detectors like the ones that you see in airports. They're just wands. So the students would be wanded anytime the staff felt the need to increase security for any reason. They say no student will be singled out in this process. And while some parents have said they support this, others aren't so sure this will solve anything.
I don't think that the metal detectors are going to send the right messages to our young people. It says we're moving in the wrong direction.
John Wright, who you just heard from, has a daughter who's a freshman here at La Follette. She was here the day that the shooting happened. While he was concerned for her safety, he says the real problem for students who act out begins long before the students step foot in school. He says he would rather see the school spend money on community outreach, and the Madison School Board is set to adopt this proposal at their regularly scheduled meeting tonight.
All right, Jamie Perez reporting live outside of La Follette High School. Thank you, Jamie.
It is just about 6:06 this morning. Black community leaders are pushing for change after an alleged incident between a student and an administrator at a Madison middle school. On Saturday, more than 100 people attended a discussion at the Boys and Girls Club. This following accusations from an 11-year-old girl that a positive behavior support coach pushed her and ripped out her braids. This weekend's meeting was closed to media in hopes that parents could speak freely about their experiences of having their children mistreated at school.
I got to tell you, it was heartbreaking to hear the emotion of some of the parents, but I also was thankful to see there was a bunch of teachers that came and said, here's some things that we could be doing better.
The Progress Center for Black Women is compiling suggestions from the meeting and will make them public. Video of the alleged incident at Whitehorse Middle School has not yet been released.
A UW-Madison fraternity is not allowed to hold any events at least for the next month. The Alpha Sigma Phi Kappa chapter was suspended for allegedly pressuring members into hazing rituals that included forcing new members to wear Dora the Explorer backpacks and carry fruit around during this year's fall semester. Now, the Committee on Student Organizations found the chapter in violation of the Student Code of Conduct. Along with the suspension, the fraternity is also under general probation until December 11th.
President Trump leaves for Vietnam today, where he'll hold a second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The two leaders will meet in Hanoi on Wednesday and Thursday. Since a meeting in Singapore last June, progress toward denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula has been slow. Yesterday at the White House, the president said he's in no rush as long as there is no nuclear weapons testing. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has already said a third summit meeting may be necessary if this one doesn't accomplish all of the president's goals. Meanwhile, the president says he will delay a tariff increase on Chinese imports. Those were scheduled to take effect March 1st, but now the president is tweeting the two countries have made substantial progress in recent talks. Later this month, President Trump is planning a summit with the Chinese president at his Mar-a-Lago Golf Club in Florida.
Back in Washington, Special Counsel Robert Mueller is expected to conclude his investigation into Russian election meddling very soon. A Justice Department official says the report will not be delivered while the president is overseas. On Wednesday, the president's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen, will testify before Congress. The agenda includes the president's payoffs, financial disclosures, compliance with campaign finance laws, and business practices. There will not be any questions related to Mr. Mueller's investigation at that point. On Thursday, Cohen appears before the House Intelligence Committee behind closed doors. Meanwhile, House Democrats are working on a plan to block President Trump's national emergency declaration to fund a border wall. The president's actually tweeting about this morning. That resolution is scheduled to go to a vote tomorrow. The president wants to use billions of dollars in military funding to build a southern border wall, that is, despite campaign promises that Mexico would pay for it. Now, he warns if the Democrats' bill makes it through the House and Senate, he will veto it.
It is 9 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Monday morning, and across the country, more than 30,000 people struggle from a genetic disorder with symptoms described as having ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's all at the same time. We're talking with a local nonprofit leader about how you can help those with Huntington's disease.
Trust us, you will need all of the layers this morning. We have a wind chill advisory in effect until 9 a.m. Ice and snow-coated roads means nearly 40 school districts now are delayed or closed for the day. Hattie will let us know about the next alert days after the break on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center out in the patio this morning where it is pretty darn cold. The birds are chirping though, they're already up, so keeping me company outside. Take a look though at the peak wind gust reports from yesterday. If you were wondering just how windy it was, 40 to 65 miles an hour. Those were the wind gust reports here across southern Wisconsin. The strongest reports came along the lakeshore. Kenosha and Milwaukee gusting at 60 miles an hour or stronger. Lone Rock gusted to 52 miles an hour. Here in Madison, our peak wind gust was 46 miles an hour. Wind chill advisories are in effect this morning. Now, luckily, the winds have died down quite a bit overnight, but still, that wind chill advisory continues until 9 o'clock. It's very cold outside, and with even a little bit of a light wind chills quickly drop to around 15 to 20 degrees below zero. And there's your wind chill forecast through the day. It's not going to warm up much today. Normal high by the end of February would be right around 35 degrees, but it is certainly not going to feel like that today. We also have a pretty active weather pattern continuing this week across southern Wisconsin. Alert days have been added to the forecast for late Tuesday into Wednesday. Snow accumulating up to 4 inches here in southern Wisconsin, and it will impact the Tuesday evening commute and the Wednesday morning commute. GFS future track snow amounts, again, just a couple of inches, 1 to 4, with the highest amounts to the north and east. Now, here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. Beautiful shot this morning. Nice to see the light a little bit earlier in the day. It is 0 though here in Madison and Monroe as well as Lone Rock, so don't be fooled. It's cold outside. Winds are from the northwest, 8 to 15 miles an hour. That quickly drops those wind chills into the teens below 0 and even right around 20 below in Platteville and Dubuque. So you have to bundle up as you head out the door this morning. Your future track forecast model takes the clear skies and, well, replaces them with clouds later on this afternoon. Look for mostly cloudy skies with a few flurries possible this afternoon. No accumulation would be expected. High temperatures, though, will only be in the single digits above 0. As we go through the nighttime hours, pretty quiet and cold conditions, though. Mostly cloudy skies with just a few flurries. Then on Tuesday, after the lunch hour, some light snow begins to spread across southern Wisconsin, and it will continue through the evening right into Wednesday. Should be coming to an end, though, by mid-morning or lunch hour on Wednesday. Again, forecast snow amounts in the general, a couple to 3-inch range, slightly higher amounts possible to the north and east. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. Alert days are in the forecast for late Tuesday into Wednesday. There is a small risk for a little bit of freezing rain to mix in on Wednesday. Overall, though, chances for snow continue right through the rest of this week, and it stays cold, especially this weekend. Highs back in the teens. Let's get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning with Jason Stone. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No major accidents or incidents to report at this time. The Beltline still has slippery stretches, and the roads on the way there will be slick. Commuters around Dane County will also be slowed down as routes will have ice on the road. And for those heading downtown, traffic is running smooth with just minor delays on East Wash. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason, thank you. And Hattie, thank you so much. That is good to hear with the roads out there. All right, you have a chance this weekend to rock out to some 80s jams. Well, of course, helping a good cause.
Yeah, this year's reprom to benefit Huntington's disease is this Saturday, and this year it's back to the 80s. And here to tell us more is Shauna Verstegen this morning. Shauna, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. And this is the 8th year you guys are putting this on.
It is. We are very excited about it, too.
So talk a little bit more about the impact that you guys have been making, I guess, over those 8 years.
So we are raising money for the devastating neurological brain disorder, Huntington's disease. And we have raised about $500,000 over the past 8 years just through our really fun charity gala event for dancing and partying the night away.
And it's a great chance to smile, but I know you've had a personal experience with this disease. For people who don't know, do you mind sharing a little bit about that and what this disease looks like? Because it's pretty startling.
It's one of the most horrendous diseases out there. We call it a combination of ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And unfortunately, my mom was diagnosed with Huntington's when I was 6, and she struggled with it for a long time and passed away about 7 years ago with the disease now, and every child of somebody with Huntington's disease has a 50% chance of also having this neurological brain disorder. And luckily I was tested in 2014 and tested negative. So I do not have the disease. My sons will never have the disease. However, through my work with the Huntington's Disease Society of America, I've met so many amazingly strong people who will have the disease someday. And that's why we want to work hard to find a cure so that they may never have it.
So, and part of that is obviously the support from the community, and people have really been showing up over the past 8 years, as we mentioned. What has that been like for you?
Oh, it's just unbelievable to walk into this room of people, some who've never heard of the disease, some who are personally touched, some who have the disease, all celebrating and raising money to bring some positivity to such an awful thing. So it's been fantastic that people are donating their money and their time, and to be quite honest, it's just a fun event. Even if you've never heard of Huntington's disease, just to go and do prom again and to dance, and we have an awesome auction and some great sponsors, and it's just a really fun time.
Yeah, and who can turn that down? Let's make sure people know what's going on Saturday. So it is the 80s reprom, doing it up. So over at the Monona Terrace, right?
Yep, and today's the last day to register, so
make sure to go over to Madison.
Get registered now for a good party.
MadisonReprom.com. Get all of that 80s gear. We know you have it in the closet. Come on.
Some people don't, but yes, I had to go hunting.
That's all right. That's why those stores exist, for sure. So we're crossing our fingers for good weather for you, and thank you for all the awareness that you bring.
Thank you
to
for
the
having
disease.
me.
Yeah.
You bet. Thank you so much. Well, luckily I was here this weekend and not at my parents' in Minnesota, where they are seeing a record-breaking year of snowfall for February snow accumulation. I FaceTimed them this weekend. I have never seen anything like it.
Woof.
Chris Reese is here to talk about how much snow totals we're seeing here for our area compared to last year's.
And we have another makeup day for students in places like the Dells, Poynette, and Portage. Hattie is also looking ahead to a messy drive Wednesday morning. We will check in again with her when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Kind of a cool shot coming out of Platteville this morning. A little bit of sun on the horizon, but you can see some clouds moving in there as well. We will see a little bit of sunshine early today, but then more clouds for the afternoon. Temperatures are cold in Platteville. It's 1 below, 2 below in the Dells, right around 0 though in most locations this morning. And again, there is a wind chill factor. As you send the kids to the bus stop, make sure they're bundled up in all the layers. Wind chills are in the double digits below 0 this morning. Here's a look at your wind chill forecast. As you go into the afternoon, wind chills will stay in the single digits below 0. So a cold one at the bus stop today nonetheless. Temperatures will climb to a high of 8 degrees this afternoon. A few flurries are possible, but nothing that's going to accumulate.
All right, Hattie, thank you. Well, in the it could always be worse file, at least we're not seeing conditions like the folks in Minneapolis. My parents have seen a lot over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think they all have. Southern Minnesota's a mess as well. But looking at Minneapolis here, they have already set a record for the snowiest February ever. And that was before this past weekend. The Twin Cities picked up another 3.5 inches of snow. Nearly 60-year-old record last week was broken when the storm pushed the February total to more than 30 inches. The last time it snowed this much, by the way, in the Twin Cities, that's when the roof of the Metrodome collapsed under the weight of the snow. You said you remember that.
I remember that day, yeah.
Luckily, we haven't seen that much snow. We've
Yet?
still seen plenty of it, though, this past month.
Very true, and it's actually one of the top 10 snowiest Februarys Madison has ever seen. Chris Reese is here to tell us where we rank right now and where we might end up. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, good morning. We've seen a lot of scenes like the ones behind me, especially as we've gone through about the past 5 to 6 weeks. It has been snow after snow after snow after snow, and yeah, there's more to come. But I want to start with the Twin Cities. You guys were talking about the records, and I pulled together some statistics about the Twin Cities and where they eventually did begin to end up. This is their snowiest February ever. In fact, they did see 35.7 inches of snow this month alone, and I do think they're going to get some more snow as we go through the rest of this week. On average, Minneapolis only gets 8.3 inches of snow for February. Now for Madison, we've seen 21.5 inches of snow this month. Typically we see 10.4 inches of snow. Oddly enough, Madison as a whole is a little bit snowier than the Twin Cities on average, but of course we've seen them catch up to us so far this season. But here's the deal. This is the 7th snowiest February that we do have at 21.5 inches. The 3rd snowiest February, 23.8. And I do think we are going to make it into that spot by the time we get you through the end of the week. We're tracking a couple systems that are coming our way. One Tuesday and into early Wednesday. Another light snowmaker could arrive on Thursday, and then another one on Friday, but that's March at that point, so we're not going to focus on that. How much snow could we see going through Thursday at midnight? Perhaps upwards of 4 inches or so. So that would put us pretty well into that second place spot. Again, folks, we have seen 50.5 inches of snow so far this year. We average 50.9 inches of snow in a season. And well, we still got to get through March and April. So we will see where things end up. I've done some research on all of the 7 snowiest Februarys, and all but one ended with more than 70 inches of snow for the season. One of those was 2008, which had 101. I hope we don't get that high. But all of the others had at least 70 inches.
I feel like with this rate, though, I think we're going to be going for it. But
we'll see what happens.
I don't know.
I know.
All right, Chris, I'm blaming you. He's the one that wanted it. So.
Right,
you
exactly.
know, it came. March is almost days away. Spring is near.
All right, Chris.
You better hope so. We know who we're coming after.
All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, your time right now is 6:27. There's a little bit of tit for tat happening right now between leaders here in snowy Wisconsin and down in sunny Miami. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
Plus, if you need an escape from the cold temperatures today, how about a pretend trip to Arizona? We'll tell you where you can catch the Brewers' first televised spring training game when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Right now, a preview of the governor's state budget plans show he wants to make college more affordable for Wisconsin's undocumented students.
And a new proposal is on the board tonight to allow random metal detector screenings. What this could mean for your child, coming up.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good Monday morning and welcome back on this February 25th, a very cold Monday morning out there. That'll wake you up.
That is an understatement of the morning right there. Cold. It just like blows right through you.
Oh man.
That's why
right
Hattie,
to the bone.
Exactly. Hattie McLean's got her big old fuzzy hat on, trying to stay warm out there. Hads, how's it going?
Well, it's cold outside. I can't say anything else about it. Wind chills are in the double digits below zero. Temperatures are hovering right around zero. But it's pretty. Take a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. Nice sunrise underway this morning. Just a little bit of cloud cover here in the Madison area. A little bit more cloud cover, though, to our south and west. Unfortunately, we are going to see clouds roll in for the afternoon. Temperatures, as I mentioned, starting out right around zero. A couple of spots are below zero this morning. The real story, though, is the wind chill. Wind chills are in the double digits, ranging in most spots from 15 to 20 below. Wind chill advisories continue until 9 o'clock this morning. Our temperatures will climb only into the single digits above zero this afternoon. Luckily, though, the winds aren't going to be as strong as they were yesterday. Those strong winds that we have are now making their way to the East Coast. Let's take a look at the first alert traffic maps. No issues to report right now, but keep in mind that there still may be some roads that have some drifts on them, especially north of Madison. I-39 north of Portage. Travel is not advised on the interstate there. We also have some ice-covered reports on Highway 14 as you head northwest of Lone Rock. So keep that in mind. Traveling into Madison, though, nothing happening right now that's going to slow you down too much. And that's your first alert traffic.
Oh, what a mess, Addie.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Your time right now is 6:32, and Madison students may soon face random metal detector screenings at school.
Yeah, this call for safety comes after the shooting near La Follette High School last September, and that's where we find our Jamie Perez live with what your child may soon be facing. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning. Well, after that shooting that happened near here at La Follette High School back in September, many parents were calling on the school saying that something needed to be done. Now, the school board is saying that they're doing just that. Now, this proposal would allow students, the school administration, to bring in metal detection wands and screen students at random whenever the school felt they needed to tighten up security. The school says that they take the safety of students and staff very seriously, especially after that incident at La Follette back in September. While many parents are relieved something is being done, other parents say the school took a step in the wrong direction.
We're going to try our best to protect you with devices that will do nothing, in my opinion, but demean students. Who wants to be wanded?
And John Wright, who you just heard from, suggested the school should instead invest their money into student outreach and taking care of mental health issues rather than putting time and money into wanding students. The school board is set to adopt that proposal tonight at the regularly scheduled meeting. I'll have a link to the proposal that they're adding on our website at channel3000.com.
All right, Jamie Perez reporting live. Jamie, thank you.
6:34 right now. The governor is going to release his first state budget proposal later this week, which is expected to include some financial changes for the UW system. Governor Tony Evers released a preview of his plans for those universities over the weekend, which would continue the tuition freeze Republicans put back in place back in 2013. Now, it also allows undocumented students whose parents brought them to the U.S. illegally as children, so-called dreamers, they could pay in-state tuition. Now, the governor also plans to spend $50,000 to study the feasibility of creating a student loan refinancing authority. That's a step toward a promise he made to allow Wisconsin students to refinance their student debt. Evers is expected to release the full budget on Thursday.
Governor Evers is calling out one of Milwaukee's competitors as the Democratic National Committee decides which city will host the convention in 2020. Miami Democrats say they have more hotel space than Milwaukee and know how to show wealthy donors a good time. In response, Governor Evers called out Miami for touting itself as a place for wealthy Democrats and said Milwaukee is the best place to represent Democrats who come from all walks of life. The mayor of Miami Beach says he doesn't get involved with hissy fits when asked to respond to Evers' comment. Aside from Milwaukee and Miami Beach, Houston is also in the running to host the DNC. The host city is expected to be announced this week.
If you have concerns about the shots fired calls being reported on Madison's north side, there's a chance to voice those to police tonight. It's part of the North Side Police and Resident Listening Circle being put on by the Center for Community Stewardship. Tonight's focus is on youth safety in schools and the surrounding community. Everyone is welcome, but organizers are hoping some older kids and teens come out to participate this time around. You can enjoy a free meal starting at 6. The discussion begins at 6:45 at the Vericourt Neighborhood Center. If you live or work in Rock County, you may have noticed some progress in the biotech industry there. 2 startups could soon get more help from the federal government to keep that development going. The Janesville Gazette reports Shine Medical Technologies in Janesville and North Star Medical Radioisotopes in Beloit are among just 4 companies in the country eligible for some funding that could be worth up to $15 million. Both of those companies produce something called Moly-99. It's a medical isotope that illuminates tissue and bone in diagnostics testing. The government wants to help companies to produce a reliable domestic supply of that material. A lot of it has to be imported. Shine's expected to break ground on a production facility this spring.
Your time is 6:36. The Brewers started spring training games over the weekend, but your first chance to see the defending division champions on TV is this afternoon. The Brewers will be facing the Los Angeles Angels today. It's the first of 14 televised spring training games as the Brew Crew gets ready to defend their division crown. Just like Packers preseason games, we probably won't see stars like Christian Yelich or Ryan Braun play much, if at all, but it's a chance to see some of the team's up-and-coming prospects in action. First pitch is at 2:10 this afternoon on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Oh, I wish we were in Arizona right now.
Just makes
Not
us
gonna
feel
lie.
good. Taking that in right there.
All right, the president is tweeting at OPEC this morning, telling that organization to relax and take it easy on gas prices. We'll tell you how that might affect your next fill-up in the morning sprint.
And a local family has a potentially life-saving message for parents after a newborn screening helped catch their daughter's rare immune deficiency. We'll share their story when News 3 Now This Morning continues. Welcome back at 6:40. We're taking a live look outside at a beautiful sunrise on Madison's west side. We're in a wind chill advisory for the next couple of hours, but at least the sun is making an appearance. Your first look forecast is coming up. Okay, so it's time for hashtag My Morning, and we're going to take a little break from the Wisconsin winter for a moment and check out this picture Gail sent us. This is the sunrise over the Palms in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
like
that be
that's
nice?
recent. It's green and it's recent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would imagine that our Lee Lynchide's probably taking some beautiful pictures like that too.
Maybe some sand and
We can
her
dream.
shots too. Oh my
Just
goodness.
for a moment.
Gail, thank you. We think. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and please, please, please post it on any of our social media pages using that hashtag MyNews3Morning. Okay, we have a potentially life-saving message for parents this morning as an area family credits newborn screenings for keeping their baby alive.
Maddie was born January 6th. Her parents say without the testing, they never would have known that their daughter has a rare immune deficiency, meaning she could have been killed by the common cold. Now Maddie has to stay isolated in a hospital room as she awaits a life-saving transplant. While they hoped for a quick, easy birth, they know this was for the best.
What we were hoping for. Yep. 2 days and then send her home, but that didn't happen.
But luckily it didn't.
Our colleague Maddie O'Neill will have more on what the newborn screening means for baby Maddie's family and all of the parents in the state coming up tonight only on News 3 Now at 10.
That should be a really powerful story.
Yes, for
there.
sure.
Yeah. All right. After we get through some brutally cold temperatures today, snow, yes, snow is back in the forecast.
Of
How
course.
can there be anything left in the clouds, really? I guess what's a few more inches, too. Hattie's first alert forecast is coming up, and just soak in the sun until then.
But first, it is February 25th. We want to say happy birthday to Elena Sawyer and all the kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning.
Look who's
And welcome back at 6:46. Trending on Twitter this morning, a screen artist in Hanoi is among those pretty excited about President Trump meeting Kim Jong-un in Vietnam's capital this week.
That's right. The artist is selling Trump-Kim Summit t-shirts. Yep, that's right. He says the inspiration comes from his love and admiration of the two leaders. So far, he has sold 500 t-shirts in just 3 days and is having trouble keeping up with demand. The best part, he says, he's using that money he makes to buy food and water for poor people in his community.
I saw they were even doing haircuts over. You could get a Kim or a Trump haircut too.
That's very interesting. All right, let's turn it over to, I think, a much more wintry forecast, I would assume, Hattie, than Vietnam.
Yeah, I didn't look at Vietnam's forecast this morning, but I'm going to go with the fact that we're colder. Definitely more snow on the ground as well. Take a look at the snow depth map. Pretty impressive through central and northern Wisconsin, much of Minnesota. We have widespread snow depth in excess of a foot, maybe even in some places more than 2.5 feet on the ground. You start to see those reds and oranges there. Not as much snow here in southern Wisconsin. We got more rain from that last system. But we do have some snow in the forecast. We'll be adding to our wintertime snow totals once again. 1 to 4 inches is possible from Tuesday into Wednesday. It will impact the Tuesday evening commutes and then the Wednesday morning commutes. So that's why alert days are in the forecast. Here's a look at your GFS Future Track model forecast starting tomorrow afternoon. You can see already at 1:30 snow spreading into the area and continuing right through the evening commute. So may see some snow a little bit heavier at times through the evening. It'll wind down through the morning hours on Wednesday, but one thing will remain: cold temperatures in place across southern Wisconsin. Now look at snow totals from this particular storm. Lightest amounts will be in far southwestern Wisconsin, 1 to maybe 2 inches there, 2 to 3 here in Madison. Slightly higher amounts approaching 4 inches as you head north and east of Madison. So not a major snowstorm by any means, but enough that you probably want to clean up once again. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Sun is up here in Madison. Skies are mostly clear. It is a cold start to the day, though. Wind chill advisories continue for our entire area. They'll go until 9 o'clock this morning. Our temperatures are hovering right around 0. In fact, it is 0 here in Madison, only 3 in Janesville, 2 below in the Dells, 1 below in Platteville this morning. When you factor in the northwesterly wind, though, it feels much colder. Here's a look at those current wind chill readings. Right around 20 below from Madison and points to the west, even Watertown and Juneau at 20 below this morning. So bundle up as you head outside. Here's a look at your Future Track wind chill forecast through the day today. By lunchtime, wind chills are still in the single digits below 0. And really, we don't improve much from there. Wind chills will drop back below 0 as we head into this evening. Our temperatures today will be on the cool side as well. We're looking at highs only in the single digits this afternoon. Your extended forecast has alert days for Tuesday and Wednesday due to that next storm system. There also is a little bit of a risk for some freezing rain that we had to add in for Wednesday morning. Otherwise, the active weather pattern continues. Snow chances again Thursday, and then a potential storm for Friday into Saturday, keeping things on the cold side as we head right through that first week of March. Look at these guys, though. They're pretty happy inside.
I would be too.
Shades.
Shane's got the shifty eyes going on, though. He's like, really? Picture?
He's tolerating it.
Good stuff.
I look very happy. 8, they'll definitely be inside today.
Yikes, for sure. All right, Hattie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next on News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us. 6:52, time for the morning sprint. More than 40 school districts are at least delayed this morning. Schools in places like Portage and the Dells are just closed for the day. The wind chill advisory lasts until 9 this morning. Hattie has your forecast coming up.
First, though, Jamie Perez is talking about a proposal to scan Madison students with metal detectors in school. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. If you have a child in the Madison School District, they may soon face random as-needed metal detector screenings in school. Now, this comes just after the shooting near La Follette that happened in September. These would be random as-needed screenings with metal detection wands. They say no student would be singled out and would be done if the administration felt it was necessary to heighten security for any reason. The school board is set to adopt this proposal tonight at their regularly scheduled meeting.
I got to tell you, it was heartbreaking to hear the emotion of some of the parents, but I also was thankful to see there was a bunch of teachers that came and said, here's some things that we could be doing better.
That's the reaction from Boys and Girls Club CEO Michael Johnson after his organization hosted more than 100 people over the weekend. That meeting was focused on an 11-year-old's claims that the acting principal at Whitehorse Middle School ripped out some of her braids. The Progress Center for Black Women is compiling suggestions from that meeting and will make those public soon.
Beautiful sunrise this morning across southern Wisconsin. Here's the look from the WISC-TV Skycam in Madison. Wind chill advisories, though, in effect for the area until 9. We are all included in that advisory. Here's a look at what it will feel like through the day today. Wind chills close to 20 below this morning, only climbing into the single digits below 0 this afternoon.
Hattie, thank you. Today's wind will be nothing compared to what we saw yesterday. Around 11 a.m. Sunday, whiteout conditions led to a deadly crash involving more than 130 cars on I-41 near Neenah. One person was killed and 71 others were injured, including 5 that were admitted to the hospital. Hundreds were stalled while crews cleared the scene.
Meanwhile, there are major highways all over southern Minnesota closed this morning as wind gusts continue to carry snow across the roads there. Whiteout conditions were a significant factor yesterday. Some snow drifts have been estimated to be at least 6 feet tall. The National Guard had to be called in to help law enforcement rescue people stranded in that blizzard, that dumped a foot of snow in some places.
And more snow in the forecast this week is bad news for Wisconsin farmers who are already dealing with buildings buckling under the weight of the snow. Those farm structures are usually older and they're exempt from state building codes, so there's no standard on how strong roofs need to be built. As we get closer to spring, the snow is expected to be wetter and heavier, which could put farm buildings at an even greater risk.
We have a special feeling, and I think it's going to lead to something very good, and maybe not. I think ultimately it will, but maybe not.
President Trump's tweeting this morning that Kim Jong-un will make a, quote, wise decision when it comes to denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. The president leaves for a summit in Vietnam today where he will meet with the North Korean leader for the second time since their last meeting, and the vague agreement that came from it. Progress toward denuclearization has been slow. The president said yesterday, though, he's in no rush as long as North Korea isn't actively testing nuclear weapons.
The president is also tweeting about oil prices this morning, telling OPEC that the world can't take price hike. Here in Madison, gas is around $2.30 this morning. That's lower than the state average of $2.34, which has stayed steady overnight. While Wisconsin is lower than the nationwide average of $2.39, we are up 10 cents from this time last week.
The governor will release his first state budget proposal later on this week, which is expected to continue a tuition freeze at the UW system. Republicans put that in place back in 2013. That budget would also allow undocumented students whose parents brought them to the U.S. illegally as children to pay in-state tuition. There are also plans to spend $50,000 to study the feasibility of creating a student loan refinancing authority.
It is 6:56. Let's turn it over to Jason Stone with a look at your First Alert traffic. Jason, good morning.
Good morning. There's a disabled vehicle on South Park Street near the exit to the eastbound Beltline. The right lane is blocked and will cause minor delays. The Beltline still has slippery stretches and the roads on the way there will be slick as well. And for vehicles lining up, there are vehicles lining up on John Nolan at Rimrock and North Shore Drive. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
And this morning we do have some sunshine early on. Nice to see the sun today here in Madison, but bundle up, it is a little deceiving. It's pretty cold outside with temperatures near 0 this morning. We will climb to highs right around 8, that 9 a.m. temperature. Not accurate there.
Oof.
We will climb to 8 for a high this afternoon.
Yeah, sorry guys.
It's a tease.
I know it is quite the tease there. All right, stay warm out there, stay safe with the roads, and be sure to keep in touch here with News 3 Now. We'll see you tomorrow.